Conan the Barbarian, 1982, was a whirlwind that blasted the fantasy film genre into the early 1980s. On screen, Conan crushes his enemies, drives back opposing armies, and storms across the battlefield like a hurricane. But behind the camera, things were even more intense. Arnold Schwarzenegger had to wear armor weighing 44 pounds, train to exhaustion for 18 months, learn horseback riding, sword fighting, and had almost no opportunity to use a stunt double. Every action scene was a combination of strength, skill, and sheer daring, making the behind-the-scenes experience both brutal and mesmerizing. Did you know that Conan doesn't speak a word until the 24th minute? And his first line became iconic: "Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women." Or that many scenes with animals sparked public outrage, criticized for mistreatment. From real accidents involving weapons, blood, and violence, to the daring decisions of John Milius and Arnold, the film created a world that was both grand and savage, keeping audiences glued to the screen. Let's explore 20 strange and little-known facts about Conan the Barbarian, where on-screen action and behind-the-scenes legend merge into a living myth. Number 20. Arnold didn't need a stunt double. Arnold Schwarzenegger was the living definition of daring on set. With his massive physique, the crew couldn't find any stunt double capable of standing in. So Arnold performed every dangerous stunt himself. From scaling vertical cliffs, galloping across battlefields, tense sword fights, crawling over sharp thorn wires, to death-defying jumps, he charged into it all without hesitation. Arnold recounted that many sequences left his body torn, hands bleeding, and back injured to the point of needing 40 stitches. One memorable scene had him chased by a pack of wild dogs, dragged into thorn bushes, or biting into the carcass of a real vulture. After each take, he had to rinse his mouth with strong liquor to get rid of the metallic taste of death. Accidents piled on. He was even bitten by a wolf, thrown to the ground, and had to stitch his wounds. Yet none of these injuries slowed him down. On the contrary, they made Conan's on-screen presence more fierce, wild, and terrifyingly real. Arnold's strength, willpower, and courage created a Conan that any audience would respect. What do you think about Arnold's fearless fighting spirit? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And now, brace yourself for another gruesome behind-the-scenes fact about Conan the Barbarian. Number 19. Animals were treated extremely poorly. During filming, the Conan the Barbarian crew staged numerous scenes where horses tripped over ropes and fell right in front of the camera to heighten dramatic effect. One horrifying scene had a horse forced to gallop straight through preset stakes. The fall was so intense that audiences couldn't help but shudder, as if splinters and clumps of mud flew right at them. The American Humane Association, AHA, which monitors the use of animals in films, quickly labelled the movie unacceptable. The reason? The entire shoot took place in Spain, where animal protection laws were lax, and the AHA was not invited to oversee the production. The fact that horses actually tripped and fell ignited a wave of fierce opposition, sparking debates about the boundary between cinematic art and the lives of living creatures. When the film premiered in the US, outrage reached its peak. In front of Hollywood theaters, the AHA and animal rights groups staged protests, urging audiences to boycott the movie. Thousands of angry letters poured into producer Dino De Laurentiis' office, forcing him to claim that all scenes were safe. However, this explanation failed to calm public opinion, especially as 1980s media continuously published articles criticizing the crew for sacrificing animal lives for the sake of art and cinematic effects. Number 18. The music was initially rejected. Before release, Basil Polidoris' score faced opposition from the producers, who felt it was too heavy and didn't fit a fantasy film. However, director John Milius insisted on keeping it, believing Polidoris' music would bring depth and grandeur to the story. Polidoris worked closely with Milius throughout production, creating musical themes for each character and scene. His music was heavily influenced by opera, using powerful chords and majestic choirs to convey Conan's strength and tragedy. He also employed the musync system to synchronize musical rhythm with the visuals, producing scenes that were emotionally and visually stunning. The score of Conan the Barbarian not only provided the film's musical foundation, but also became a cultural icon, influencing the fantasy genre for years to come. Even films like The Lord of the Rings were impacted by Polydorus's musical style. Number 17. Conan speaks his first line at the 24th minute. For a film named after its hero, Conan the Barbarian takes its time letting him speak. Though he is the central character, Conan utters no words until nearly the 24th minute. However, his first line is iconic. When a Mongol general asks Conan what is best in life, he replies with the legendary line, "Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women." Few know that Arnold Schwarzenegger was originally assigned narration duties with more lines to express the character. However, the producers ultimately gave the role to actor Mako, whose voice was both authoritative and haunting. This choice inadvertently made Conan a nearly silent warrior, elevating his iconic status. Number 16. All weapons were real. A fascinating fact: the weapons used on set were all real, with no safety replicas. This made action scenes dangerous and unpredictable, as the weight and sharpness of real swords could cause injury if actors slipped. Every detail, from blade to hilt, was handcrafted, adding absolute authenticity to Conan's on-screen warrior image. The two central swords, Conan's father's sword and the Atlantean sword, were made of carbon steel, weighing about 20 pounds each and valued at up to $100,000 each. Crafted by master blacksmiths Jody Sampson and Tim Huchthausen, the swords featured fully tempered blades and intricate engravings, appearing both majestic and fearsome. However, the weight and hardness made them extremely difficult to handle, especially in fast-paced sword fights, increasing the risk of accidents. Conan's large sword didn't remain a movie prop. Arnold kept one of these iconic swords as a personal memento after the film's success. Years later, as governor of California, he proudly hung it above his desk in the governor's office. For Schwarzenegger, it wasn't just a prop. It symbolized discipline, strength, and hard work that carried him from bodybuilding champion to Hollywood star and eventually politics. Number 15. Stunt performers were paid extra to die faster. The brutal battles in Conan the Barbarian required dozens of stunt performers, from soldiers to fanatical cultists, all falling to Conan's sword. But not everyone died quickly. Many rolled, groaned, and struggled excessively, turning epic scenes into accidental comedy. Some even blocked the camera, forcing reshoots. Their over-the-top commitment disrupted the set, making director John Milius furious. To end the chaos, the crew devised an extreme solution: pay extra for anyone who could lie still after dying. This odd rule quickly became legendary on set. Every time Conan swung his sword, people joked, "Fall fast! The blood is fake, but the money is real." Within days, dramatic deaths disappeared, replaced by a scattering of motionless bodies that looked like a real battlefield. Number 14. Conan's childhood scenes were cut. In international versions and extended releases, like the 2000 Special Edition DVD or the Arrow Films 4K Blu-ray, some childhood scenes were filmed but removed from the US theatrical release. These included moments of Conan recalling a harsh past, climbing mountains with his mentor, learning the riddle of steel, and a psychological scene between Conan and Subotai before battle, recounting dark, relentless struggles. These scenes deepened the character but were cut from the original release. Director John Milius confirmed that while emotionally rich and sympathetic, these scenes slowed the film's early pace, a crucial period to maintain high action intensity. Thus, he and the crew decided to jump straight into Conan's adult story, full of continuous action. The result? Conan appeared mysterious and intense from the start, making each line and action more impactful. The extended cut, mainly released on DVD and Blu-ray, restored some scenes, such as Conan's conversations with Subotai before the final battle, as well as additional footage emphasizing character depth and connection, removed from the theatrical release. Are you curious about these scenes, or do you feel the film's opening works well? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 13. Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't the first choice. Before Arnold Schwarzenegger entered the wild world of Conan the Barbarian, the producers considered a lineup of famous faces. Charles Bronson, with his iconic tough guy image, and Sylvester Stallone, the rising star after Rocky, were both on the potential cast list. Both had courage and strength, but their appearances didn't fully match the warrior image of Conan that director John Milius envisioned. The model he sought was someone both powerful and commanding, a presence that neither Bronson nor Stallone could fully embody. The turning point came when the producers watched Pumping Iron, 1977, the famous bodybuilding documentary where Arnold Schwarzenegger shone with charisma, perfect physique, and towering confidence. They realized Schwarzenegger could not only play Conan, but he was the ideal embodiment of the character. This decision was quickly reinforced by producer Dino De Laurentiis, who signed Schwarzenegger and ensured he would focus entirely on the project, despite other opportunities. When the film was released, the choice of Schwarzenegger proved to be perfect. Legendary critic Roger Ebert praised him as the inevitable choice and complimented how Schwarzenegger and Sandahl Bergman brought their characters to life with authenticity. Schwarzenegger's presence not only made Conan an iconic action figure, but also opened a new chapter in his career, transforming him from a bodybuilder to a Hollywood superstar known worldwide. Number 12. The dogs were truly ferocious. The dogs chasing Conan across the desert were not trained pets. They were genuinely dangerous. Both director John Milius and Arnold Schwarzenegger confirmed in the commentary that these animals were extremely aggressive. During filming, Arnold actually had to sprint for his life. Deleted scenes in the home video release show Schwarzenegger looking terrified as hunting dogs lunged at him, biting and clawing with real force. The attacks were so intense that the crew had to carefully time every shot because the dogs often ignored commands. Interviews revealed that the dogs were so unpredictable that they even attacked their handlers between takes. Far from special effects or clever editing, Conan's desperate sprints across the sand were frighteningly authentic. Number 11. Armour weighing 44 pounds. Conan's armour, handcrafted in Spain, weighed approximately 44 pounds, 20 kilos, and was designed to give the character a strong, imposing look. However, the heavy armour posed significant challenges for lead actor Arnold Schwarzenegger during filming. The armour restricted movement and caused scratches and pain during action scenes. Its weight made it difficult for him to perform agile and precise combat moves, affecting both performance and the realism of the scenes. Number 10. Many countries banned the film for excessive brutality. Director John Milius initially pushed Conan the Barbarian to an extreme, producing a cut that even experienced producer Dino De Laurentiis considered excessive. Conan crushed his enemies, watched them driven before him, and heard the lamentation of women. His version was drenched in blood, featuring brutal killings and savage moments beyond what general audiences could tolerate at the time. One infamous example was Conan's mother's death, originally staged as an extremely bloody scene, much longer before being reshot into the still gruesome version in the final film. Other violent scenes were cut entirely and discarded. In the US, the film was rated R due to its graphic violence, including crucifixion, slave arenas, sacrifices, nudity, and sexual content. These elements made the film unsuitable for younger audiences and sparked significant public and child protection organisation controversy. In other countries, the film was outright banned, For instance, in Germany, Conan the Barbarian was included on a banned list due to strict cinematic violence regulations. The film was considered too graphic, particularly the torture, death, and intense combat scenes, leading censors to deny theatrical release. What do you think of these violent scenes? Do you think the bans were justified? Number 9. The cast liked to drink blood. During filming, the crew prepared litres of fake blood for brutal battle scenes. Simple in theory, but freezing temperatures in Spain turned the task into a nightmare. The dark red liquid solidified immediately upon spraying. Facing the risk of turning scenes into ice instead of blood, the special effects team devised an unexpected solution: replace water with vodka. Only this high-proof clear alcohol kept the blood flowing thick and red in the cold. On set, whenever actors were slashed or gushed blood, they were essentially spitting vodka. Ironically, some accidentally swallowed it, consuming shots of alcohol mid-slash. Some even got tipsy and jokingly requested more fresh blood for the next take. Thus, the long, brutal battles became a secret happy hour, where Cimmerian warriors were both bloodthirsty and tipsy right on set. Number 8. Snow scenes were fake. To recreate the snowy Cimmerian village, the crew faced a major challenge. Winter hadn't arrived. To solve this, they scattered approximately 12,000 USD worth of white marble powder, about 1 million pesetas, across a forest near Valsen, Spain, to simulate real snow. This method created a visually striking effect and saved both time and production costs. Although the marble powder couldn't reflect light like real snow, careful cinematography and lighting achieved the desired visual impact. The crew also incorporated shots from other locations to create a grand and convincing winter setting. What do you think of the snowy scenery? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 7. Grueling 18-month training regimen. To fully embody the role, Arnold underwent 18 months of intense training, far beyond weightlifting. Each day was meticulously planned: running, swimming, climbing ropes, full-body muscle workouts, and that was just the start. Arnold also learned horseback riding and sword fighting, essential skills for authentic action scenes, sword swings, and horse stunts. He worked closely with martial arts master Kiyoshi Yamazaki to perfect combat techniques that were both brutal and graceful, with each movement repeated until flawless. Arnold, along with co-stars Sandal Bergman, Valeria, and Jerry Lopez, Subotai, rehearsed each action sequence at least 15 times before filming, and most fight scenes were performed without stunt doubles. Every strike and jump was drenched in sweat, blood, and precision. Beyond physical conditioning, Schwarzenegger honed his acting to shine on screen, turning Conan from a giant muscle-bound figure into a character with depth and natural charisma. He even grew his hair long naturally, avoiding wigs, ensuring every detail was authentic and vivid. This dedication made every scene compelling. Conan was not just a warrior, but a living symbol of strength and courage. Number 6. The resurrected corpses scene was handcrafted. In the final battle when Conan faces Thulsa Doom, the protective spirits rise to aid him. The crew didn't use CGI. Everything was done practically, from swirling white smoke to light cast from different angles, creating a supernatural and mystical effect so convincing that the audience almost believed real ghosts appeared on the battlefield. Every wisp of smoke and beam of light was meticulously planned to make the spirits manifest in a hazy but haunting way. This scene wasn't just a visual spectacle, it also heightened the tension of the fight. When Conan confronts Doom, spirits from the past, those who had journeyed and sacrificed with him, appear as invisible warriors, assisting him in attacking and blocking enemies. The audience could tangibly feel the spiritual power overwhelming in the physical world, making the battle vivid, intense, and imbued with a sense of mysticism. Number 5. The snake cult was real. Thulsa Doom's snake cult was not purely a cinematic invention. Screenwriter Oliver Stone drew inspiration from dark historical fragments and contemporary obsessions. Initially, he looked to the Flagellants, a medieval sect who terrorized Europe during the plague, carrying crosses while whipping themselves in search of salvation. Their rituals of pain, blind faith, and fanatical devotion formed the framework for Stone's depiction of Doom's fanatical followers. The obsession didn't stop at the Middle Ages. In the 1970s and early 1980s, America was shocked by horrifying incidents involving cult leaders like Charles Manson and Jim Jones, men who manipulated minds with sinister charisma, driving followers to crime and death. James Earl Jones' Thulsa Doom carried the shadow of these false prophets: hypnotic gaze, mesmerizing voice, and absolute control over a crowd willing to surrender everything. At a time when anti-cult sentiment and fascination with supernatural powers were widespread in the US, Conan's snake cult tapped into deep-seated fears of the audience. Did this detail impress you? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 4. Sandahl Bergman lost a fingertip during filming. Playing Valeria required Sandahl Bergman to engage in brutal sword fights with little room for error. In one particularly intense scene, disaster struck. She accidentally severed the tip of a finger in a sword clash. The injury was painful and shocking, yet Bergman continued working, demonstrating remarkable resilience. She later joked about the accident, considering it just another battle scar from a challenging scene. This incident highlights how dangerous the stunt work on Conan the Barbarian could be for its performers. Number 3. 3 directors rejected the project. Before John Milius was chosen to direct Conan the Barbarian, 1982, several prominent directors declined the project. Names like John Frankenheimer, Sam Peckinpah, and Ridley Scott were approached, but all refused. The main reason? Oliver Stone's script was highly ambitious, filled with intense action and mythical elements that many directors feared would exceed their ability to manage. Ridley Scott, later famous for Alien and Blade Runner, was offered the film but turned it down because he disagreed with casting Arnold Schwarzenegger as Conan. Scott even stated he would have accepted if the lead actor changed, but producer Dino De Laurentiis insisted on Schwarzenegger, making Scott one of the first high-profile directors to reject the project. After a series of refusals, John Milius, already renowned for action-heavy projects and knowledge of Viking culture, was invited to direct. Milius not only agreed, but rewrote Stone's script, incorporating cultural elements and combat styles from Seven Samurai and Kwaidan, creating a story that was both epic and deeply textured. Number 2. The film drew inspiration from multiple sources. Writer-director John Milius infused Conan the Barbarian with diverse inspiration, creating a world that was ancient, mystical, and brutal. A lifelong admirer of Japanese culture, he drew from samurai traditions and even Japanese ghost stories. One of his favourite films, Masaki Kobayashi's Kwaidan, influenced much of the tone and atmosphere in Conan's mythic world. The film also owed much to fantasy artist Frank Frazetta. Many shots were directly inspired by his famous paintings. The script drew from Robert E. Howard's original Conan Tales and later works by L. Sprague Damp and Lynn Carter, including The Thing in the Crypt. Production designer Ron Cobb added further visual inspiration, blending Egyptian symbols, Celtic and Nordic architecture, and even Mesoamerican imagery. The result was a fantastical world appearing as if it had emerged from multiple civilizations simultaneously. Which style do you feel the film evokes most? Share your thoughts. Now let's move to the final behind-the-scenes fact. Number 1. A set was destroyed in a torch-throwing accident. One of the most memorable scenes in Conan the Barbarian is when Conan hurls a blazing torch through the main window of the palace. Simple in concept, but extremely dangerous, the torch was supposed to ignite the set, creating a fiery climax carefully designed to explode visually. On the first throw, Schwarzenegger missed the mark, and there was no second chance. The massive palace was built specifically for the shot, and the flames quickly consumed everything. There was no way to rebuild or reshoot. The footage seen on screen is the only take ever captured. Ironically, this accident added a raw, violent power perfectly suited to Conan's brutal world. The flames spread across the set, casting fiery reflections on metal and the warrior's muscles, creating a moment both dangerous and legendary. Steel, fire, blood, and myth all converged in a single shot, simultaneously an accident and a cinematic triumph. It's a reminder that sometimes the most vivid scenes arise from unplanned chaos and intensity. Looking back at Conan the Barbarian, the film is more than a fantasy tale of strength and combat. It's a journey of challenge and sacrifice from set to screen. From Schwarzenegger's 18 months of grueling training to the use of real weapons keeping every action sequence risky, and Basil Polidoris's epic score, initially opposed by producers, every detail contributed to a world that was grand, fierce, and vividly alive. Which scene impressed you the most? Have you ever wondered if Conan could feel so alive and captivating without the accidents, effort, and bold decisions of the production team? If you want to continue uncovering secrets behind classic films, don't forget to subscribe and join us as we reveal untold stories of cinema.